Voila. You see me? You hear me? Thank you, Thomas. So first off, I'll do an intro in a moment. I'm actually not an external advisor at the college. I'm the director at the college. I'm an external advisor at McKinsey. But we'll get into that. First off, title says there, sustainability doesn't sell itself. Disruptive pricing tricks are needed. So let's dive into this. The first thing to do is a welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You can't say anything, so I'm going to pretend that I listen to what you would be saying. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Thank you for caring about this, which is not a given. Thank you for trusting me with your time. In general, just thank you. It's a good note to start on. Now, phase two, notice how we're going fast. Who the hell am I? Why should you listen to me? Well, hi, I'm Claus. I'm the director of the College of Extraordinary Experiences. I work as an external advisor to McKinsey. I have a wall of trust a mile long. I do things for big clients and small clients all over the globe. 43 books, 1,000 plus events, workshops, blah, blah, blah. It's good to meet you. Let's try that again. Attempt number 2. Hi, I'm Claus. I'm the father of Saga, who's 5 years old. That's why she gets 3 pictures. I've done a lot of weird stuff. Not all of it looked like this, but some of it felt like it. I've done a road trip across Route 66, driving 4,000 kilometers with a fake rock band, hunted for rubies in Greenland, and I used to be a reality TV star when I was younger and prettier. That's me down there on the right. It's good to meet you. Third attempt. No more. Third attempt. Hi, I'm Claus. I became an entrepreneur at age 23. This was me with my company in 2017. We had 50 people around the globe when we were at our biggest. We were the biggest of the type of what we did in the world's largest live action role play studio. Not big, but 50 people. And then it crashed, leaving me with seeing the death in flames of the company I'd spent 15 years building. That was a couple of years ago. And it left me with a personal debt of more than $1 million US. Financially speaking, my life looks like this. The debt isn't as bad now. I'm climbing out of it, but it still looks like this. It's good to meet you. All these 3 are true. Which one do you prefer? Now, I can't ask you. I'd like to, but I want you to think on it out there. Do you prefer the professional intro, the nice titles, the accomplishments, the sound good stuff? Do you prefer the more personal, the more quirky, the one where I get to mention my daughter? And again, there's pictures of Saga. Or do you want the painful one? Did that resonate more with you? The one where it says, yeah, this guy's actually been in $1 million debt and is trying to get out of it. It's now 700,000, so there's still a way to go, but it's going the right way. And why? I can't answer this for you. You can answer it for yourself. Which of these did you prefer and why? Now, as you're thinking, there's an extra thank you. There's that at every phase. It's a good habit to be in thanking people. But what the hell does this have to do with sustainability? Well, turns out that we can sell sustainability in many ways, just like I can present myself in different ways. We can sell sustainability in many ways, and we do. We sometimes sell it with benefits, saying if we do this sustainably, it will be good. Things will be better. You will live longer. We can sell it with purpose. You should buy it because you're doing something for the planet. You should buy it because of the mission. You should buy it because of the future. We can sell it with fear. If you don't do it, we're all going to be dead in 12 years. Oops, now it's down to 7. You can sell it with shame. Do it, or we'll hate you. Do it, or people will spit after you in the street. You can sell sustainability many ways, but it gets a lot more complex than that, because you can also sell it with now. Talking about what happens right now if you buy sustainably, if you think sustainably. But sometimes we try to sell it with yesterday. Because you've done this for 50 years, you need to change. The young people, they're fine. They're not guilty yet, but you're guilty. So change because of yesterday. Maybe we sell it because of tomorrow. Maybe we say, do this now, and it'll make a difference tomorrow, even if tomorrow is a year or 2 from now. And sometimes we talk about someday. If we don't do this, the planet will be gone in 2150, or the ecosystem will explode, or whatever it is. We tell about someday. Not tomorrow, today, not tomorrow, not even in 5 years, but someday. These are ways we use to sell sustainability. Now, you see what's coming, right? You're sharp people. You've guessed it already. Because you know what we rarely sell sustainability on? We rarely sell it on price. And that's a mistake. I'm going to say thank you even so for listening to that, but it's a mistake. It's a mistake to not sell on price, because it turns out that most humans, they like to do good. They like to save the planet. They like to help the poor. They like to do something good for people and for planet, but they also like their money. So if you want to win, yes, you can sell via shame. Yes, you can sell via fear. Yes, you can sell via purpose. But an effective one is if you can combine it with price, which leads us to pricing tricks. I want to leave you with 3 concepts. Number 1, the concept of the 5 prices. Hopefully, a lot of you will know this already, but we'll formalize a little bit, and then hopefully it'll stick even better. The concept of packaging, the concept of invisibles, and finally a bonus tip from me. You could say that's 4 things, but it's 3 things and a bonus. Sounds better. Okay, the thank yous are getting a bit much at this point, but let's stick to them, right? Let's stick to the routine. Thank you for being with me so far. Now, the first of these, phase 5, the 5 prices. Well, you can have the normal price, and this doesn't matter what you're selling. Are you selling ice sculptures? Are you selling websites? Are you selling football matches? Are you selling shoes? Are you selling oranges? It doesn't matter. There is a range that is the normal price range for the sophisticated buyer, the one who knows what they're buying, like you when you go to a supermarket. There is the normal price range. You know, when you're picking up apples at a supermarket or milk, you know what's a normal price. You know, is it, and this is dependent on country, it's dependent on culture, it's dependent on, do you shop at the discount supermarkets or the luxury, but you know what's normal, you know what's reasonable. You know that from this to this, it's fine. Where I live in Denmark, if I buy a kilo of apples at €3, that's decent. It's not cheap, it's not expensive. It doesn't say anything about the apples, it's just a price. If I buy the aid of an accountant, it'll cost me about €120, maybe 150. It's normal, it's standard, it's just a price. That's one way of pricing. Another is discount, saying we are cheapaccountants.com, or we sell cheap apples. An apple at half the price, it's discount. I still want to buy it, but it's a discount thing. Selling at discount can be very profitable. It can be very smart. There's a lot of money in selling cheaply. But you also need to present that you're selling cheaply. If you're flying on one of these low-cost airlines, Wizz Air or Ryanair or EasyJet or something like that, then you need to present that this is a low-cost airline. If you go to somebody and say, the prices of a very cheap airline, but the luxury of Singapore Airlines, nobody's going to believe you. You can sell at a discount, but you need to be believable. But there's money in that. There's money in selling cheaper than the norm. There's also money in selling at a premium. There's money in luxury. There's money in being, we are expensive accountants. We take on high-class clients and we cost 3 times the industry average. Yes, there's money in that. There's money in premium. There's sales in premium. There's believability in premium, but you need to present as premium. It's the 3rd price level. The 4th is untrustworthy. It's when it's too cheap. If somebody offered you a flight ticket from Istanbul to Los Angeles for €10, you wouldn't want to get on the plane. If it was one that you won in a lottery, fine. But if somebody said, we've come up with a new airline, it's called Super Cheap Airline, and we sell one-way tickets from Istanbul to Los Angeles at €10, nobody's going to get on that plane because it's too cheap. It's untrustworthy. It's too little. On the other end is the ridiculous. We are a luxury airline. We sell one-way flights from Istanbul to Los Angeles. Singapore Airlines and their $5,000 business class. No, we cost $1 million for a flight. Nobody's going to buy that either because it's ridiculous. Now, the tricky thing about these, and if we visualize, it looks like this. The light green is the standard, normal. Discount, there's options in discount. There's a limit to how far you can go down before it becomes the next thing, which is untrustworthy. But there's also options in premium. And you'll notice that the premium band, the range, is bigger. You can be untrustworthy. That's the fourth price. And the fifth one is the ridiculous. That just keeps on going unlimited. You can always add more price. It just makes it more ridiculous. The problem with this is that this is only for the people who know what they're buying. This is for you when you're buying milk. This is for you when you're buying something you know something about. A ticket to the movies or diapers if you've got kids. But when we're buying things we don't understand, we have no idea what's normal. We have no idea what's a ridiculous price, what's a premium price. We don't know. But that's also an advantage because it means that if you're, dear speaker, welcome, you're backstage now. That got in a little bit late. Excellent. I'll just ignore that. If we are selling something to people who don't know what the price should be, then we can price it low. We can say this is a discounted thing. And if they feel it's expensive, they won't feel it's discounted at all. If you're buying something you don't know anything about, what does space flight cost? To most people, what do funerals cost? What do weddings cost? Most people only plan 0 to 1 or 2 funerals in their lifetime, so they have no idea what a funeral costs. What should an oak casket cost? What does a wedding cost? What is an expensive wedding cost? How do you figure out how good a DJ is? All these things. We don't know. If we don't know the market, we don't know where the price is. We don't know when somebody's offering us something. Is it expensive? Is it normal? Is it premium? Is it ridiculous? We don't know. But we do know how to look at it. We do know when we go into a restaurant, is it dirty? Does their menu look expensive? Are the waiters elegant and classy? We can see these things even if we don't understand the price. And when we're selling sustainability, one of the things we want to sell is if we want to be able to compete on price, it doesn't mean we have to be cheaper. It does mean the price needs to match what it is we're selling. And if they don't know what they're buying, well, then we can decide, is this cheap? Is this premium? Is this normal? But we always run the risk of running into people who don't understand. You may be selling something. You may be selling sustainable technology. In Denmark, we're proud of our windmills. We send windmills. What does a windmill cost that can power 1,000 homes? Most people have no idea. The ones that do, they can differentiate between an expensive windmill or a cheap one. But most of us, we don't know. So use that to your advantage. But you need to understand the 5 prices to be able to apply them and know what you're doing. This is the good space to be, right? Thanks for listening. The next thing understanding is packaging. I'll give you 2 simple examples. Let's say you're selling coaching. I do that from time to time. You can sell 4 hours of coaching. Sounds good, right? Let's say it costs €1,000 for 4 hours of coaching. Some will say that's expensive. Some will say it's cheap. Some will say that's normal. Some will say it's ridiculous. Some will say it's too cheap, depending on what they're looking for, what they know, what they want. But let's say you're selling 4 hours of coaching. Well, you could also sell a 3-month coaching package. First we meet and we talk for an hour. And then after a month, we meet again and talk for an hour. After a month, we talk for an hour. And finally, after the 3rd month, we have a last meeting where we sum up and talk for an hour. It's the same 4 hours. But are you selling 4 hours or 3 months? Some people will want to buy 3 months of coaching because they feel that's a period of time. Change can happen. Some will want the 4 hours intensive now. I want change on Monday. It's the same 4 hours, but they're packaged very differently. And if we take that, first we need to ask ourselves, which do you prefer? Would you want to buy 4 hours of coaching now? Or would you want to buy 3 months of coaching with an hour each month? There are many ways to package things. And to give you an example that's not coaching, something that's tangible, something that's easy. Let's take a shoe. You can sell it in a store. That's classic. You go into the store, you buy the shoe, you pay the money, you take the shoe, you leave. Classic. You can also bundle it with socks. Now you're buying shoes and socks, and it's not really clear what the price on one end is and what the price is on the other, because now it's bundled. Maybe the socks are actually the expensive item here because it's luxury socks and the shoes are just slid in there for extra value. Maybe it's 50-50. Maybe the socks are worthless, but people have found that it's easier to sell shoes and socks than just shoes alone. You can bundle it. You can rent it. You could have a shoe rental store. This is often done with costumes. You come in, you rent a pair of dress shoes or elegant shoes for your costume, and then you use them for a weekend or for a party, and then you hand them back. You can lease them like a car. You rent them on a day-to-day basis while you're slowly paying off, and once you've rented them for a long enough time, then you own them. You could charge for their use. You could put in a small chip in the shoes, that's pretty easy to do, where they're standing in your closet, in your hallway, and every time you put them on, you get charged by the shoe company. That's a business model. You can sell a chance at getting shoes. You can sell a lottery ticket that maybe has shoes as a price. You can even buy access to shoes. Imagine you could go into a shoe store and you have a subscription to shoes, so you just go in there and you pick out the shoes you want right now, and you return them later, and then you pick out others, like a library of shoes, except you pay for the library card, or in this case, the shoe card. You can have others pay, which is very often done when dealing with, for example, emergency relief or trying to help people who have few resources. Somebody pays and somebody else gets the benefit. That's also an option. You can even just give stuff away. Let's say you have 1,000 shoes, just give them away. I was the other day at the central shopping street of Copenhagen, Strøget, and there were free Coke Zeros. Some young people who were hired by Coke to do a marketing campaign were just handing out free Coke Zeros. They're just giving it away. No questions, no anything. They're just giving away product. You can do that. The list, of course, goes on and on. And if we say there are many ways to package and take that a step further, first the thank you. Of course, it's there. Then if we take that a bit further, we get into invisibles, because so far I've only talked about the shoe in our example. Shoe is not just a shoe, though. What about the shoestrings? What if we made them more organic? What if we made them more sustainable? What if we made the shoe box sustainable? What if the paper that was in the shoes, the shoe wrapping, what if we got that produced more sustainably? What if the store was more sustainable? What if it had a lower CO2 footprint? If it was made by sustainable materials, the shoes are the same, but we're selling sustainability by having a sustainable store, even if the shoes haven't changed. What about the advertising? What if we say from now on, we're only using marketing agencies that are CO2 neutral, or even our marketing campaigns have to be climate positive? Our shoes are still the same, but our advertising is making us leave a different footprint on the planet. What about the shoe designers? What if we now say that the designers are no longer flying? We are vastly reducing their CO2 footprint by saying they don't have to fly back and forth across the globe. Thus, we make more sustainable shoes, even though the shoes are the same. What about bookkeeping? What about a different piece of software that is sustainably sourced or sustainably designed or sustainably operated? All of this with the same shoe. So you can sense what about, right? The list goes on because it says there are many ways to sell sustainability. It doesn't have to be the thing you sell to be selling sustainability. Thank you for that. And then I promise you a bonus tip. I can't hear you, so I'm just going to assume, I'm going to pretend you're ready. It's very simple, actually. And it is talk pricing with outsiders. Find people from different industries, friends, enemies, people that you meet on the street, people that you meet at networks, people you meet at parties. Talk pricing. Talk pricing with outsiders. Ask that guy who owns a restaurant that you know, how do you do pricing? Ask the person who's a street performer. Ask the person who works in a shoe store. Ask the guy who's in software. How do you do pricing? What does pricing look like in your industry? And you'll find that there's a lot of stuff out there that is priced in very different ways than you'd ever imagined. Ideas can come from everywhere. They can come from elsewhere, some of the best ones. And you may even realize that you think you're selling shoes, but you're actually selling mobility. You're selling comfort. You're selling status. You're selling luxury. You're selling pride. You're selling safety. You thought you were selling shoes, but maybe you were selling something else. You thought you were selling sustainability, but maybe it's easier if you say something else and just slide in the sustainability on the side. Thank you. And now I see from our time that we are just about on time. It's time to summarize. 1, there are many ways of presenting, many ways of showcasing what it is you're doing. There are many ways of selling your story, selling your service, selling your product. The 5 prices, if you understand that, and most of us do on a basic level, but it's sometimes nice to get it into a system, you can use that to price differently, to sell at a different price point than the others are. And when you package it, and there are many ways of packaging. Invisible is the concept of that. 4th thing we've covered is that you might not be selling sustainability, even though you're selling something that's sustainable. And finally, the most important perhaps, the bonus tip, talk with outsiders. Plus, you've got to meet me. Now, that makes me smile, even if it doesn't necessarily make you smile. So that's our secret. And with that, the final thank you and a goodbye, phase 10, which is very simple. Thank you and goodbye. I hope you have a wonderful conference.